Hello, my name is Claire Betzer, and this summer I was a government relations intern with MTA Visions, the first global management consulting, corporate social responsibility, and government relations firm based in Washington, D.C. Through the internship and professional development program, I was able to learn how to champion profit with purpose, amplify impact both locally and globally, and protect clean interests in sovereign states and all levels of U.S. government. My two goals for the summer were to gain a deeper understanding of how policy is made and to gain more insight into the consulting realm of government relations. And interning with MTA Visions, I was able to achieve both those goals. I learned the ins and outs of corporate branding, how to analyze global issues, and how MTA Visions can apply its skills and expertise to create innovative and tangible change. Through the program, I learned the origins of policy, as well as how MTA Visions conducts client intake and onboarding. As an intern, I had weekly responsibilities to fulfill in addition to completing major and special project components. One of these responsibilities was the MIO chat, or My Expert Opinion, where I was able to present the facts on a current developing issue, analyze stakeholder positions, and offer recommendations for MTA Visions services. My MIO chats ranged from a wide variety of topics, from the Chinese consulate closure in Houston, Texas, to public green space equity during COVID-19. MIO chats helped me think critically about an issue, present facts in a non-biased way, and offer creative recommendations for MTA Visions services. Additionally, interns had weekly social media postings. I loved engaging my network in my program and allowing them to see the highlights of my internship. Posting on social media weekly helped me to advertise my major project campaign and learn how to conduct outreach through hashtags. Finally, interns participated in weekly icebreakers, HR moments, and quote outs. It was a great way to connect with everyone, even though we were all separated due to COVID-19. The HR moments were thoughtful and covered a wide variety of topics such as self-care and taking risks in the workplace. I'm surprised by how much the HR moments resonated with me, and I'm excited to apply the lessons that I learned to my academic and personal life. This summer, I worked continuously on my major project theme, Equity and Inclusivity in Education. I critically analyzed global education systems, particularly in China, Haiti, and Peru, to devise innovative solutions to eradicate the systemic barriers that millions of children face in trying to achieve an education. Equity and inclusivity in education is the idea that every child, regardless of disability, gender, ethnicity, wealth, or location, deserves the right to an education. Yet 260 million children still do not have access to or are excluded from education. So I created my major project campaign, Edu as One, to eradicate those barriers, empower these groups, and educate the general public. I was really excited about this theme because I've always been passionate about championing education as a right.
First, I created an introductory presentation to introduce equity and inclusivity in education. This presentation included an overview of the issue, impacted populations, stakeholders' positions, and my proposed solutions. Then I created a SMART plan to track my progress and continually build traction for Edu as One. This plan kept me organized and on track throughout the internship. Then I engaged in the research and marketing portion of Edu as One. I wrote a culminating policy brief on equity and inclusivity in education, highlighting the problem in my three major project countries, China, Haiti, and Peru, and wrote a firm statement positioning MTA Visions as a leader in this field. Then I launched my hashtag campaign, #EduAsOne on Instagram, and put together marketing deliverables to distribute to clients. Next, I identified potential clients and researched their respective needs and supplier strategies. I then identified which products and services would best fit their needs. Then I wrote a public affairs report assessing the conversation around equity and inclusivity in education in the United States and globe. I researched congressional positions, compiled press clippings, and engaged my network to identify the best potential stakeholders. Finally, I researched and perfected the client engagement process by writing a client lifecycle explainer, writing client interview questions, and curating client engagement materials.
I could not have asked for a more engaging, educational, and enlightening topic to dedicate my summer to. Every week, I was astonished by the level of inequity that children around the globe have to face in trying to receive an education, especially during a global pandemic when so many are affected by school closures and inadequate resources. It was really important to me to devise tangible solutions to uplift and empower these groups that do not enjoy the same right to an education under the current status quo. That's why, while I love writing and researching, one of my biggest highlights was building organic followership through my major project Instagram campaign. It demonstrated to me that people truly care about this issue as much as I do and want to see it solved. Every time I gained a new follower from Haiti, from the disabled community, it made me feel like my campaign was empowering others. In addition to working on my major project, I also worked on an average of 2 ancillary special projects per week. These special projects aimed to expose the interns to the field of consulting and lobbying and make us think critically about certain issues. Before this internship, I had never worked with project proposals or corporate branding before, but now I have the skill set to feel confident handling these types of assignments.
In our first special project, we focused on corporate branding and deliverable production. I worked with a video producing software to produce a commercial pitch, created a brochure, and curated a presentation demonstrating MTA's capabilities. In Special Project B, we worked on advertising different services to the general public. I wrote both succinct and longer marketing statements to entice the audience. In Special Project C, I wrote firm statements, service statements, and client lists for a theoretical engagement addressing diversity in ministries of foreign affairs. Special Project D required us to draft client intake forms and interview questions. I found this project particularly interesting because I have never worked with a client before, teaching me how to properly engage a client and assess their needs. Special Project E gave us the agency to come up with a webinar topic and advertise it. I decided to focus my webinar on advocacy and included tips and best practices to break into the field. Special Project F allowed us to research trade missions on our major project countries and recommend future endeavors. I got to learn what a trade mission is and how diplomatic relations are further strengthened because of them. Special Project H focused on cultural and sports diplomacy in our 3 major project countries. It was eye-opening to learn about the power sports has to bridge differences between groups. Special Project I focused on corporate environmental philanthropy. I learned what that entails and realized how robust philanthropy is in communities that I had never expected, such as China, Haiti, and Peru. Special Project J highlighted relationships between global cities and the United States. I analyzed the relationships between Guangzhou and Los Angeles, Del Mas and North Miami, and Lima and Austin. Special Project K allowed us to do a deep dive in gender equity and youth empowerment in our major project countries. I enjoyed researching the different measures and policies different political systems have to better engage these systemically marginalized populations. Finally, Special Project L emphasized police social responsibility and COVID-19 accountability in our major project countries. I enjoyed working with developing data and current events to conduct analyses of the situations in China, Haiti, Peru, and the U.S.
These special projects challenged me in unimaginable ways, but looking back at all the work that I've done, I can't believe the knowledge, skills, and abilities that I acquired through them. Before these projects, I had no idea how to conduct a client intake interview, compile intake forms, or align solutions with MTA's capabilities. Now, however, I'm able to look at a current and developing situation and automatically brainstorm ways in which we can solve it. Some of my favorite special projects included the ones where we took a deep dive into the policy specifics of our major project countries. For example, looking at gender equity in China or brainstorming trade missions in Haiti and Peru. This fall, I returned to Dartmouth College to pursue a major in government with minors in public policy and Mandarin Chinese. With me, I'll take the lessons of perseverance, diligence, and adaptability. This internship has opened my eyes to the realm of management consulting, corporate social responsibility, and government relations. Throughout the program, it was a tradition to quote out with an impactful quote at the end of every meeting, one-on-one, or HR moment. So I've compiled a few of my favorites that I'd like to share today.
My first quote out from the program was a quote from Buddha saying, "Whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them for good or ill." My quote from the halfway mark of the program was from Jimmy Carter, which reads, "Go out on a limb, that's where the fruit is." And my final quote out from the program was from Brian Tracy, which says, "Whatever we expect with confidence becomes our own self-fulfilling prophecy."
Over the past 7 weeks, I've grown professionally and personally. I've learned so much more about government relations and corporate social responsibility that I never thought that I would, all while enduring a global pandemic with my fellow interns. I'm beyond thankful for the insightful feedback that I received, for it's positively impacted the way that I work. So with that, my final quote out for the 2020 MTA Visions Summer Internship and Professional Development Fellowship is a Chinese proverb that reads, "Be not afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still."